Welcome to this retro content from Throwback Thursdays, whether it's from NoDQ.com, the Jeff Meacham Network, Casa D18 Studios itself, a Simple Man's brand, or the J. Hebert Studios, and anything to do with FTW Productions. This will be the content re-aired right here on Throwback Thursdays that you could expect to see on the Casa channel. I know watching back some of our old content, whether it's the Open Mic Night intro where I'm laid on my bed, which I kind of cringe at, especially with this cool-ass setup now, or whether it's, just about anything to do with what we have done on FTW Productions, from a Simple Man's brand, from the J. Hebert Studios, to even some Insanity Works and Retro Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated stuff. There's some good stuff, there's some cringe stuff, and either way, I hope you guys enjoy that stuff coming up, and, even if you didn't enjoy it, I'll be along with you for the ride. Some of the stuff does not age well, like Jeff's content does. I know he has done a deep dive on his own content and cringed at his own self, but either way, I hope you enjoy it regardless. I know in some of these clips, I have a fondness to them. So with that being said, enjoy this Throwback Thursday, and until next time, we'll see you on the J. Hebert side.
Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
It's out of my hands, but I'm still in control. It's out of my hands. You can never take away the power of my soul.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Owen the Talkinator Studios series premiere of Owen and AJ Talks. Welcome to the FTW family, Zero Miller. Shared experiences re-airing on the new FTW main hub. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. The Wrestling Rundown and ATW View crossover available now on demand. Fantasy Booking Series video, If Goldberg Stayed in WWE in 2004. Pride CAW Supercard by Zero Entertainment, available now on demand. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Simple Bracketology season premiere covering the G1 Climax 33. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force episode 27, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Go Home Week, Dynamite and Rampage watch parties. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting, episode 3 coming soon. La Strada 1954 watch-along, available on demand. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from A Simple Man's Brand.
May 25th, 2019, where it all began, it comes back rolling around 4 years later, back where it all started in Las Vegas, fight capital of the world and the birthplace of all elite wrestling. Place your bets, put it all on black, hope to hit high, hit the jackpot, and hope you don't bust. But King, it is literally 24 hours before Sunday night, May 29th. And you know what that means. Double or Nothing is upon us. Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to another ATW View impromptu with the all elite pillars of ATW that started off from the very beginning. I am the Simple Man. My name is Noah Farza. He is the ATW champion. He is all elite, my brother. I face him in one-on-one for the ATW championship for Double or Nothing. He is, of course, again, my brother for life in professional wrestling. King A-Train, King Anthony, his house. King, it has been a wild, 3 years technically, but again, 2019 is where it all began. So, watching that, 3 years of math. It's been a wild time, and I think Tony Khan overloaded the professional wrestling. We talk about quantity versus quantity, but it should be a hell of a pay-per-view tomorrow night. But how are you after what we just saw, too, on Dark?
Man. Yeah, if y'all didn't watch Dark, go ahead and watch the always, air it afterwards. And we're still trying to get our brains together for after what happened after the Johnny and Lita Mark Quinn match when his dad apparently decided to do some random dance in the middle of the ring, and I'm not even going to try to do the dance on here on this channel.
Please don't.
Y'all know.
Please don't.
Y'all know my goofiness for 2-3 years on this channel, with the whole iconics crap and everything. So
let's not go there while the inspiration is no longer wrestling. All right.
So, but yeah, y'all get the point. I'm not gonna do that goofy, even because I got that out of my system before we went live. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm weak from that. But yeah, again, AEW, it literally is a buffet of everything you hope to see and maybe don't want to see at times, but sometimes you're like, I'm glad I saw it anyway. In professional wrestling. And Tony Khan decided to stack the deck higher than a standard deck of cards with 13 matches this year on the Double or Nothing card. 1 buy-in, 12 main. What the heck are you on, you madman? As of course, we talk about Double or Nothing, available on the Bleacher Report app for $50, because it is not a premium live event. It is literally a pay-per-view, and it's going to be one to remember too for a number of reasons. There is polarization in so many matches. There's so many different ways to go to, and honestly, this might be the show that defines the future of AEW when it comes to main event. But with that being said, brother, let's get right freaking into it. So I think it only makes sense to start off with the buy-in, which will be available for free on YouTube for everybody, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, even though there's only one match announced. I'm pretty sure most of that buy-in will probably be dedicated towards, I don't know, Countdown Revisit, as we look at this first match that's going to happen between, very nice, very evil. It's come alive, folks. Hook and Danhausen. Yes, you are not being fooled. Hook and Danhausen come together in tag team action to take on the duo of Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. Well, King, we've seen the workout regimens. We know that Hook has had his daily diet of chips and definitely has been putting the rounds in the gym. Danhausen, well, probably going to curse Mark Sterling and Tony Nese, if not already. But if anything else, he's a great encouragement. And then you got Tony Nese that's just trying to get Smart Mark Sterling in physical shape, because the last time he was in a match was in a full leotard against John Moxley in the pandemic, and he got paradigm shift for his troubles. This is going to be simply a fun way to welcome everybody into the pay-per-view, give them a laugh, more crazier than apparently Johnny Elite's dad doing the weirdest dance I've ever seen in 2022. But I think we both can agree that Hook and Danhausen are winning this affair. There's no other way of putting this.
Hookhausen has been, I never thought in a million years, ever since this company first started, within its 3 years existence, if you would have told me that Hook and Danhausen were to become an official tag team, I would have called you a liar, and I would have told you to go to a doctor to get checked, because your brain is not literally there. So, but to see this tag team to come into fruition, and we're going to get this match between Tony and Mark Sterling, it just baffles me. But at the end of the match, Hookhausen is going to get the win. I mean, who doesn't want to see Hook and Danhausen, especially in Las Vegas over there in Sin City? I mean, that's a good introduction to, get like people to basically, if they haven't bought the pay-per-view on Bleacher Report, to get, that's a nice way of bringing them in to be like, oh yeah, this is a good tone setter for what the main card should be, which we'll talk more about that later. But Hookhausen is going to get the win, obviously. It's just basically 2 against 1 at this rate. I mean, what's Mark Sterling going to do? Is he still going to pretend that, I have a neck injury, I can't compete?
He probably will just rip off the neck brace and try and punch Danhausen in the back of the head, because he probably thinks he could take advantage of Danhausen. But for those that don't know, Danhausen is a very accomplished wrestler too, and not just a very, very nice, very evil podcast personality, and apparently Oreo aficionado, as I've seen on the Bunny blogs. But that being said, yeah, this should be fun to say the least. But as far as it being a long-term thing, I don't know. This might just be a one-off, because honestly, has Hook said anything towards this at all besides the fact that you got my attention? Well, we'll see what the aftermath is following this. I still think Tony Nese and Hook is the one-on-one waiting to happen. And honestly, it might come from this. So we'll see. Oh, my good grief. The comedy, the hits, the hilarity, it just keeps coming. They just keep on bringing more and more and more of the craziness. But speaking of craziness, I think it's safe to say that Darby Allin is crazy out for revenge, particularly against one of your boys, the Undisputed Elite, one half of Red Dragon, after he took out Sting in destroying Sting's ankle. So, as we saw, the young boy of the Undisputed Elite, sorry, brother, who am I thinking of? Oh, that's right, freaking stooge, Brendan Cutler. He was lucky he didn't get his ankle broken. But apparently, we all know Kyle O'Reilly is not 100%, and Darby Allin is looking to exploit that. Darby Allin, Kyle O'Reilly, grudge match. And simply put, Darby is out here to hurt Kyle O'Reilly in the name of Sting. King, your thoughts on this? Darby Allin's been there since day one. He's had quite a win-loss record. Kyle O'Reilly, a hell of a run during the Owens tournament. Didn't make it to the finals. But in my opinion, Kyle O'Reilly, first singles pay-per-view match too. And with the next big show being Forbidden Door, I feel the Undisputed Elite needs some sort of momentum behind them too. What's your take?
The momentum, I agree, but I feel like it's not going to happen around here because, like you said, Darby is out for redemption because of that Sting injury that made out AEW's Twitter to say that Sting was not going to be able to, attend, the meet and greets and all that because he suffered an injury. And, that's probably because of Kyle O'Reilly and that hand. So basically, Darby is out for revenge against Kyle O'Reilly. And I know the UE needs momentum as we soon after this pay-per-view, we are heading on the road to Forbidden Door in a few short weeks. So, but I feel like Darby is going to pick up the win here because he said on Dark tonight, I am going to rip your leg apart. I'm going to take it out. And that's exactly what Darby's target is, because as Kyle O'Reilly has kinesis tape on that knee from his match against Samoa Joe.
Yeesh.
So he is not 100%. So, and Darby is going to target that at all costs. So I feel like Darby will get the win here in this match. But as far as momentum, the UE needs to get momentum back on their side after tomorrow night, because Jay White keeps bringing it up, saying like it's not only about New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's not about AEW, it's about the Undisputed Elite and Bullet Club, because it's still their era. So after tomorrow night, they need to pick up momentum. But I got Darby getting the win here easily.
It's
not easy.
About to say, is anything easy when you're going against Kyle O'Reilly that can literally break you down limb by limb, despite the fact Darby Allin says he's only 50% human? There's still 50% that Darby Allin can literally feel pain. Again, though, I just feel like the Undisputed Elite, they need some sort of momentum. Darby Allin, he's going in here alone, and he's no stranger to that. We also know that Kyle O'Reilly is going to have Bobby Fish in his corner, who's not even booked for the show. I feel that this is going to be, something that continues and develops into maybe a tag feud. And I feel that Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are going to exploit Darby Allin when it comes to his aggressive, reckless nature too. I think Kyle O'Reilly is going to pull the upset here. Again, it comes down to, I feel like, the numbers game and a game plan. Both men, they obviously have had their bumps, but Kyle O'Reilly does literally have an exposed target. And he said he is going to go destroy that leg. Kyle O'Reilly, though, I can see him doing more of the same. And we know how many ways he can manipulate an arm and a leg, too. We saw what happened with him and Samoa Joe and also Ray Phoenix. And again, Samoa Joe had to put the man to sleep to put him down. Darby Allin necessarily doesn't have a submission like that, but Darby Allin could also break him down. But I think that Kyle O'Reilly needs to win here more from a storytelling context. So I'm actually going with Red Dragon's Violent Ortiz for the win here too. Especially since Red Dragon has aspirations to even go after maybe the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Let's not forget that too, despite what we think might happen at Forbidden Door. So I got Kyle O'Reilly on this one. All right. Now we're going to move on from there into another match that was just made this past Friday on Rampage and talk about Be Mad. Well, if you're going to make Dan Lambert, a guy that already hates everything that this generation of professional wrestling fans stand for and millennials, be madder than ever, you go and literally break into the American Top Team headquarters. What in the name are you guys thinking? And Kazarian even put it, well, I don't like you two, but we all can agree on one thing. We can't stand Dan Lambert. Here we are, King. From the fight capital of the world, Paige VanZant finally makes her in-ring debut, tagging alongside the Man of the Year, Scorpio Sky, sporting a Lakers-inspired TNT Championship now. And all you go away from Paige, it finally comes ahead against the trios of Ty Conte, Sammy Guevara, and Frank Kazarian, where, if American Top Team wins, Frank Kazarian and Sammy Guevara can never challenge for the TNT Championship again. I think that more so comes down to as long as Scorpio Sky remains champion, but as far as Scorpio Sky is concerned, he's never losing that belt. Now, I know that you are a big fight fan. This is the fight capital of the world. You also used to be a Ty Conti fan. But again, this is Paige VanZant, and she is a world-renowned bare knuckle boxer. Very strong record, very aggressive nature. Ty Conti, though, she's got that Muay Thai Taekwondo background and has a mean pump kick. We saw these two a little bit give us a preview of what they can bring to each other during that ladder match a few weeks ago, where really this all started to really devolve back when the TNT Championship was playing hot potato. This all started back at the Battle of the Belts, but as far as I'm concerned here, you have an extra player in Frank Kazarian, who more so is out for revenge against former SCU partner. But this thing with the TNT title and Sammy Guevara and more so Sammy and Ty being together needs to freaking end. And in my personal opinion, I feel like American Top Team needs this win for everybody here to move forward. Your thoughts on this match?
The TNT title scene, to go from where we are, from where we began with Cody and then Brody and then Darby and then Miro and then back into the Sammy. and then back to Cody, and then back to Sammy, and then where we are now, it doesn't feel that prestigious as it once was with this TNT Championship, because the TNT Championship was supposed to be the prestigious title to where Cody and Sammy, and they brought in free agents from the wrestling industry to come in and challenge for the TNT title, for that open challenge. The TNT title is what I used to look forward to when it comes to these open challenges. And because of the great matches and the great men who have held the TNT Championship, to go from that to what we are now, after this, Scorpio Sky needs to have a lengthy run with the TNT Championship and get it back to the value as it once was. Because basically, this TNT title scene has fell flat. And I mean flat. Don't get me wrong, I like Sammy, I like Ty, but I just don't like the way how they're being booked right now as we speak. So for that to matter, and for that, it's basically, you gotta give this to American Top Team. You gotta, and plus you gotta make Paige Van Zant look strong here in the fight capital for her AEW debut as well. So yeah, I'm giving this to American Top Team. They need the win, so that way, like you said, we can push this feud and get this feud on out of here and give Scorpio a some more respectable challengers now, and move it past from Sammy, because Sammy in this whole TNT title scene, he needs to be up there with the AEW World Title scene now. It's time. He needs to be up there. It's time.
As far as Tai Conti goes, yeah, she needs to get back after the TBS or the AEW Women's World Championship. And I would love to see her versus maybe Thunder Rosa, but we'll talk more about that later. Yeah, all these men need to move on from this. And as far as Frankie Kazarian, right now, Frankie Kazarian, he's just an added player in this thing just to balance it out. Because again, if you were going to do trios, you had to have somebody else on the opposition side. And it makes sense with the history of Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky being the inaugural AEW Tag Team Champion. So there is that, bond, brotherly Noah fall there that went out the window during that great Teams Championship match where Ethan Page and Dan Lambert made sure at the end of the day, the title stays American Top Team. But yeah, this needs to move on. And as much as I want to think that they might revisit Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky in California, which is where they are next week for the first time ever, I need to see something different personally. So, yeah. And again, no way Paige Van Zandt is eating the fall here. No freaking way.
No.
No way. There's no way. If anyone needs to fall on that side and makes us eat our words, it will be Ethan Page. Either Ethan Page or Frankie Kazarian is eating the fall in this match. But in my opinion, Lambert needs to come make a play and freaking get his team the win, as much as I can't stand the guy. But this needs to move on. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to really the heart of this pay-per-view. Because at the end of the day, before Double or Nothing was even a thing this year, it was about paying respect, homage, and honoring one of the greatest there ever was. And he never got truly, I feel like, the respect and appreciation he deserved until this tournament came to fruition, King. And now we finally stand here with our finals. And we'll start with the men's finals, because what a first time ever match that is ahead for us. As Samoa Joe, the Ring of Honor television champion, will now look to become the first Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament winner. And there only can be one first, against a man that rivals a legacy when it comes to what he believes he is to what Owen Hart was, Adam Cole. Baby, and you're wearing the shirt. Kane, this is the first time ever. This is Ring of Honor. I do believe honor is real, but I don't think the result necessarily is simply undisputed. We see the drive of Samoa Joe, where he feels like at the end of the day, Adam Cole, you're just another target. We've seen the confidence. We've also seen the passion, and we also seen how that must need to do this type attitude of Adam Cole has come into play too. Samoa Joe overcoming, of course, Johnny Elite, but also, as you said, Kyle O'Reilly, after already being banged up by Jay Lethal and his cronies. Adam Cole, not an easy road either, defeating what I thought was going to be the sentimental favorite of this tournament, Dax Harwood, and then overcoming Jeff Hardy, even with a little bit of pre-match assault beforehand, too. But now we're at our finals. And again, there only can be one first. And ever since Adam Cole showed up in AEW, he's not had the strongest pay-per-view record, too. Full Gear came up short. Revolution, he came up short. Double or Nothing. Does he finally get the W here in this prestigious tournament? Your thoughts on this?
Before I get my thoughts on this, shout out to everyone who has participated in my bracket challenge thus far. If you have Cole winning on your men's side, you better hope and pray that you have Cole winning this Owen Hart Foundation men's tournament. Because if you do, and if you did, like I said, if you watch the ATW View bracketology video on the Owen Hart video, you will win a AEW t-shirt on me that I will pay for you exclusively of your choosing. So basically, if y'all watch that video, y'all know the rules of it. If y'all haven't, I'm gonna give you the rules basically saying that if you win the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament Bracket Challenge on the men or on the women's side, or possibly even both, you will win an AEW shirt exclusively paid for by me. All you got to do is just DM me your name, your address, and your shirt size, and the shirt, and just send me a screenshot pic of the shirt you want. So that's that.
Respect.
Man, these two go back. Like you said, Ring of Honor. I'm gonna bring up another promotion. I'm gonna bring up another.
Oh, I know exactly where you're going. And they didn't capitalize it there too. Again, first time ever these two are facing each other in one-on-one action.
These two had I felt like a program set up in NXT when Joe came back to that brand and he coquina clutched and put to sleep Adam Cole. And right near the parking, like right near the back entrance of the backstage area. I thought that was going to be a program there. It was set. The seeds were planted, but they never did capitalize on it. And I was like, oh, you kidding me? But now here we are, 1 year later, and now we are getting this match. This is where, in my opinion, the unpredictability begins for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have, like, Adam Cole, yeah, he's recently getting his momentum back after the losses he took to Adam Page. First at Revolution, and then on Rampage in that
Texas Death Match,
which was crazy. And y'all need to stop hogging on that sample, like that criticism of that match because of the Little Crown. Get over it.
Yeah, let's not go there.
But he's just now starting to get his momentum back thanks to this Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And then you have Samoa Joe on the other hand, who is riding white hot momentum since he came in here, since Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor. And then the week later, that week, he defeated Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor World Television Championship.
Good Lord.
And ever since then, he has been riding on this momentum. It's hard to where you can look at it and just say, and just easily pick one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this is where, like I said, this is where the unpredictability begins for me. I don't know who to go for because both of these men are coming at such great momentum. It's hard to pick a winner here. But for my base pick, because it might change on your forum, y'all, if y'all haven't already, y'all go do Noah's forum if you're in the AEW league or you just want to start.
Link in the description down below.
For my base pick, and it's going to change possibly before the event even gets started.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night's the deadline to finalize it. So good luck.
There you go, folks, on that one. Base pick, going with Cole. Like I said, it might change, but I'm going with Adam Cole. Adam Cole is winning it out of the men's side.
All right. Well, like I told you, King, I am part of Team NoDQ. Say yes, NoDQ, folks. Follow NoDQ.com on Twitter and Facebook. I also keep updates on the All Elite League and all the other predictions leagues that I host to. How to be a part of the NoDQ family. And the team, we've already made our picks finalized because for the team, your picks are basically finalized 24 hours ahead of the show. Guess what? We're now within 24 hours of the pay-per-view. So my picks are final. And for my pick, I went with Adam Cole Bebe, solely because, like you said, he has had momentum redefined. since being a part of this tournament. And Samoa Joe, yes, he's out for everything, but there's already a storyline waiting for him with Jay Lethal and that giant and a steel pipe. Remember, it was Jay Lethal who used Samoa Joe's own steel pipe against him after Samoa Joe beat Johnny Elite to make him a vulnerable target where you thought you were going to get Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. And in a sense, Adam Cole probably felt that that was the plan going into this show too. No longer the case. Both these men are hungry and determined, but I figure out right now who needs it and who would definitely express it and talk about it more, because apparently they're not getting a trophy. They're each getting a belt. I feel that Adam Cole is going to take this thing here and really set himself up as a standard bearer for all to follow, not just in the Undisputed Elite, but in AEW. And that, for me, is undisputed. So I went with Adam Cole. And again, like you said, it is a pick'em. It is a who's who. All these contests have been pure bell to bell. It's what happens before or afterwards. I think that's going to define the future of both these men too, particularly this identity of the Owen. And again, we're talking about Owen Hart here. You and I, we've been wrestling fans our whole lives. I was born in 1992. I remember matches with the Hart Foundation and British Bulldog and Shawn Michaels, you listed, et cetera, too. Owen Hart, of course, also has New Japan Pro Wrestling background, being one of the greats that worked a lot in the junior heavyweight division. Former King of the Ring, which really was his first real big break, in my opinion, and still is underappreciated, I feel like, to this day. And then, of course, we cannot sleep on what happened at WrestleMania 10, the Battle of the Brothers, with Bret the Hitman Hart and Owen Hart, where Owen got the W. And the fact that this company, this professional wrestling company, had enough identity and trust from Martha Hart to be able to host and honor that man, that legacy too, that is tremendous respect right there. You and I could talk all night probably about what this means.
And also, the fact that Martha was sitting press box, skybox, and they were showing multiple cameras of her, like multiple views of her on like separate occasions on Dynamite on that Wednesday she showed up. Can y'all not tell by the smile on her face with the little peace sign that I kind of laughed at that when she did a little peace sign on camera on TBS. I kind of laughed at that.
That could be a chuckle too. I'm not gonna lie.
But can y'all not tell by the smile on her face that she has found her love for professional wrestling once again? This is what AEW and the rest of the, well, besides over there in Stanford, but besides them, this is what AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and all other wrestling promotions, this is what they love to do. They love to bring back fans and have that passion for professional wrestling and that love once again. And Martha Hart, who has gone through a lot since that night at Over the Edge, in Kansas City, Missouri, over there in Kansas City, she has gone through a lot of grief and pain with professional wrestling. And it just takes one company and one man to revive it all. And that's exactly what y'all saw on that night on TBS when you saw Martha Hart. Martha Hart, folks, once again, has found her love for professional wrestling. And you can thank AEW and Tony Khan for that.
And the little kid's the future professional wrestling fan, no doubt, too. And we also know that Dr. Martha Hart and her son and her daughter will be there to present the winners of both the Owens, too. So there you go. But all right, right now, we both say Adam Cole. But again, will Joe kill him? That is yet to be determined. All right. Now, you already told me you haven't finished watching Rampage yet, correct?
Correct.
You did not see Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander, but you're aware of the noise afterwards, right?
I was aware of the noise when I saw it on Twitter, but man,
Well, guess what? You're going to kick off talking about it because you know both these ladies very well. And right now, who's the baby face? Who's the bad person? Who has the ace up their sleeve? Because the women's Owen comes down to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Don't forget it. Against Ruby Soho, whether the crowd likes it or not. A tremendous semifinals match with Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander, where she just got the better of her, counting the spider crab into a roll-up type maneuver. Once again, barely surviving this more than before athlete by the skin of her teeth, much to the crowd's chagrin, it seemed. And of course, we also know she overcame the first AEW Women's World Champion in Rico in the opening round. Nice game about 2, and she said that was the toughest match of her life. Her back probably still killing her. When it's probably now, her back's even worse after how much impact Chris Statler did against her. And then you have the role model, the very first female signing to AEW, the one with the undefeated record at Double or Nothing, where not only she won the first ever women's contest in 2019 against Nyla Rose, Awesome Khan, and Kylie Ray, but also she won the AEW Women's World Championship last year at Double or Nothing against Hikaru Shida. She only missed 1 year due to injury, and even then people wonder, could she have beaten Chris Statlander? We already know she has a victory over Chris Statlander back at All Out last year, but Chris Statlander is out of the tournament. Dang it. But here we are, the one with the strongest, hardest work ethic, it seems, in and out of professional wrestling. Dr. Baker, DMD, wrestler, and also a dentist. Respect your dentist, folks. Does she make history once again, or does this driven Ruby Soho here for revenge and a receipt, it seems, at their offer at Ash Stadium, finally get the better of Britt? Does Britt do it on her own, or does her entourage come into play, like Rebel, not Reba, and Jamie Hayter, dang it, who also fell short against Tony Storm? But of course, we know that the Breaker DMD overcame not only Maki Ito, but Tony Storm. And Tony Storm was very surprised too. And she warned her if her friends got involved, she would make her life miserable too. I don't know about you, King, but I'm looking at the bigger picture here, maybe. Britt is going to be the crowd favorite. No matter what, hook her by crook. She's all elite. She is AEW's queen, gem, foundation, pillar, period. But Ruby Soho is out to prove a point here. More so, not for the fans, I feel like, but for herself. And we've seen her and Tony Storm. They seem to have pretty good chemistry together and a similar mindset. We've seen them in tag team action. And Tony Storm got stole it by Jamie Hayter. I feel like that Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm might come into play here too, but it comes down to whose plan executes properly and gets the win in the end too. So with all that to think about, and this being, again, the women's zone, where you have Adam Cole, the DMD's baby, with the win, does the other half get the W too?
And this is where I feel like, because over there in Stanford, they always do first for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I don't want AEW to copy that system. This is where I feel like, in my opinion, it's a one-sided trap if you do that with Britt. Don't get me wrong. We've seen Britt in the ring. We've watched her grow in the ring. We've watched her grow on the mic and on TV time. She is an absolute gem. No doubt about it. Homegrown AEW talent, in my opinion. But if you give Britt that first ever Owen tournament winner on the women's side, you're never going to hear the end of it. Because they're always going to say, Britt's first this, Britt's first of that, Britt's first of this, Britt's first of that.
It's
Why
true,
didn't
though.
you switch it up? Why didn't you switch it up? And then Ruby, on the other hand, yes, they have fought before. They have fought before on Grand Slam Dynamite at Arthur Ashe. Britt got the best of Ruby there. But that was with the help of Rebel and Jamie.
Yep.
Ruby didn't have no help. But if, like you touched on earlier, if Rebel and Jamie come into play, you also got Tony Storm, who was willing to help out Ruby Soho. So in order to avoid that one-sided trap, I give it to Ruby. I give it to Ruby to basically say, so that people say, oh, Britt did put somebody over. Like Britt hasn't put anybody over before. I mean, for crying out loud, she put over Thunder Rosa at Revolution because Thunder Rosa deserves it, which we will talk more about that later.
Oh, yeah.
But my pick, I'm going with Ruby. I'm going with Ruby Soho here to make up for that, to make up, for my opinion, to make up for that TBS championship, tournament loss she suffered. She needs a big high stakes win here, and this is it.
Yeah, she lost in the finals, of course, to the current TBS and only TBS champion so far in AEW history. So I do see what you're seeing there. But again, everyone was definitely pulling for Chris Statlander. And ever since Ruby Soho has become part of AEW, she has truly redefined herself and evolved herself in a way too. So that being said, though, again, Breaker DMD, she's done it all. She's done all the first, like you said, first ever lights out match, first ever women's steel cage match, first ever match of the year candidate for the women, of course, through Inside the Ropes and all that type of stuff. She already has done so many first. She is one of the top stars in all elite wrestling. So yeah, I'm actually with you on this one. I also picked Ruby Soho to get the win here too, because at the end of the day, I want to see something different. And right now, based on Ruby Soho's drive, it might cause Ruby Soho to turn heel here too. And after the scorching promo against the entire double women's division by Breaker DMD in Britsburg, when she returned after boycotting, after losing the double women's world championship to Thunder Rosa in that steel cage, after she did retain at Revolution, actually, it just makes sense to me right now that there might be a whole different paradigm shift in the dynamic where Britt right now might be the baby face you get behind, and Ruby Soho might become her villain. So with that being said, yeah, I got Ruby Soho going over here too. I'm expecting an upset. I'm going with an upset. I think it's going to be an upset because, again, with Ruby Soho, she just rolled up Chris to make it to the finals. It was not an easy win. And again, go watch that match. It was the main event of Rampage. It was so damn good. And Chris Statlander, mark my words, is a future champion more than ever. In that simple pre-match statement after Mark Henry questioned her was enough right there to show me she's 100% damn serious now. And you best be also about it too when it comes to her. No more boobs. All right. But speaking of women, speaking of Chris Statlander, speaking of TBS Championship Tournament, speaking of the TBS champion, why don't we go ahead and, King, I know I usually give the backlog, the prelude. I give all that stuff too, because you know me, I'm the analyst. Heck, I'm the commentator for the Jeff Meacham Network too. Hi, Jeff. But I think it's only fair to say that the biggest baddie fan here on ATW should first start talking about this match. So go ahead.
Oh man! At first, this version of Jade Cargill, she's money right now. Got the momentum. Everything is coming in her favor. My God, like when I heard reports that she's been coached, she's been training, and y'all can notice that she's getting better on the camera. She's getting better in the ring. Like the fans are behind her at this rate. I don't even know you could say that she's a heel. Like in storyline, yes. But as when it comes to us fans, she's not even a heel no more, in my opinion. She's more like a face because the crowd reaction she's been getting has been nothing but face reactions, in my opinion. And plus, you got to add along the fact that you got Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan, which Red Velvet should have had a first round bye in the Owen. Those are my words and my words only, and I'm sticking to it. Had a first round bye, should have got a first round bye, but I digress.
Chris Statlander won that fair and square, and you just can't accept that.
As we move on past that little debacle that I just planted, Jade Cargill right now is basically money, and I hate to say this, and like I said, like I know we were talking about it earlier, we will talk about it, the women's scene with the AEW Women's World Championship later. I feel like Jade Cargill has been booked more importantly than Thunder Rosa, and that's awful for me to say.
But you're not wrong to a degree.
Exactly. And then you have Anna Jay, who homegrown, she's grinded, she's come a long way. Ever since she's been with the Dark Order, she's not like everything's been going great for her. And then basically, this ain't the first time these two have squared off. This ain't the first time. Anna came this close, but that was before even a TBS championship came into picture. Jay still got the win over Anna Jay. But now with high stakes, well, basically we revisit this again, but this time champion and challenger now at this rate. Jade is riding on momentum, who is also coached by Brian Danielson and trained by Brian Danielson, just in case for those that don't know.
Right.
That's the reason why you see her in the ring and basically just getting everything down so smoothly and still working on to becoming a better version of herself than we saw her from when she first debuted.
Yeah, that was with Shaq.
And then you have Anna Jay, who basically high stakes for her. This is high stakes for Anna Jay this time around with Jade Cargill. I feel like Anna Jay needs to reach deep down and find that, like we was talking about before we went live, we was watching Dark, that Brody Lee aggressive side, that Brody Lee spirit. She's going to have to reach down in there to basically to pull out a win here over Jay. But who I got in this match here, Anna's not taking the title from Jay. Let's face it. It's not happening. I feel like it's going to have to take a free agent name, or it's going to have to take a free agent name, a big name, to take that title away from Jade as we speak right now. Jade's retaining. Because how you right now, you cannot take that title off of Jade. I don't think there's anybody on that roster as we speak right now can take the title off of Jade. The momentum and everything, just, and plus you got to deal with the baddies too. Huh.
Numbers game.
Jade right now, the numbers game is always going to. The numbers game right now is in Jade's favor. Jade is retaining with a Jaded over Anna Jay. Anna Jay will lock in that Queen Slayer, but she's not going to tap out Jade. It's not happening.
I can respect that outlook because, again, right now, Jade, she has an entourage. Anna Jay, though, has been putting in the work, though, much more than Jade Cargill. But Jade Cargill has been a great champion and has also become a better athlete in the ring, definitely with the help of Brian Danielson. That being said, I look at it this way. Jade Cargill, the inaugural TBS champion, beating Ruby Soho for it to begin with, and has defended this title against the likes of Anna Jay previously, and most recently, the problem, Marina Shafir, that almost took her leg. That being said, she is now 30-0, and we wonder, not only will the title be removed, but the streak be broken too. For it comes to Jade Cargill, she is all about that money. It's the big money stage, and of course, most recently, last big money stage was Revolution. She successfully defended against Ty Conti. And Ty Conti became very close to with the aid of Anna Jay at one point with a steel chair to the face. Still was not enough. It makes me wonder, what does it take to break down the stature, the strength, the power of Jade Cargill? And also Jade Cargill now is applying more mat-based dynamic mechanics. Why I find Anna Jay more of a striker. I don't know how much of a mat game Anna Jay really has to maybe counter that. And if Jade exploits that, that might play in her favor too. But then you got the baddie section that probably will be at ringside. I'm not just talking about Kiera Hogan and now baddie Red Velvet, who also come into play as well, while Anna Jay, maybe John Silver, but honestly, there's nobody really in her corner. And this match was also made literally on the fly just 1 week ago on Friday because, well, Anna Jay prevented the baddies and Jay from beating down who I think personally, King, could be not only a future challenger, but the next TBS champion, Chris Statlander. I look at Chris Statlander and I think about, again, her evolution, and she's friends with Anna Jay too, and she overcame one baddie. And I feel like right now, with all the subtle, just face-to-face interactions, it seems, inadvertent or not, backstage, you've seen it too, with one Jade Cargill and Chris Statlander in the same frame. If someone's going to outmatch, outpower, outstar quality level the TBS champion right now within AEW, for me, it's Chris Statlander. And she owned it with that pre-match promo Friday night, which you will go see, I know, from this past Rampage. So thinking about the future, where Chris Statlander becomes the next TBS champion, I do agree with you, but somehow it's going to be a tough bout. And Anna Jay still, I feel, looks strong in the end, but I do think she will get jaded again. And I do think Jade is going to retain. But I think I already know where the future is going to go for Chris Statlander and the TBS champion too. Just saying. All right. And again, respect that bitch. Simple as that.
Literally.
I mean, it does again. I don't think you can be more literal than that. All right, let's go ahead and move on back to men's side of action as we have trios tag team action. And boy, it took this long to finally have the original three. Dadgum. As we finally have the true Death Triangle, the bastard Pac, Penta Oscuro, and Rey Phoenix anymore taking on the House of Black. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, the Executioner, and of course, the other half of the Kings of the Black Throne, Brody King. Ever since the House of Black basically have disassembled Death Triangle in their favor to build this house and bring forward the Executioner, Buddy Matthews. We've seen Pac blinded, but now he sees, and he will not humble himself to Malachi either. We've seen Penta go darker, back to Lucha Underground roots, and has become Penta Oscuro. And Rey Fenix now is finally back from injury, and he is Animal. And subtly, the House of Black's message is we are here to give the fans what they deem was worthy through their sadistic, masochistic, violent nature. And as always, we hear the house always wins. For me, though, I think about this, the future of the House of Black and what could come next for the Death Triangle. In my opinion, Death Triangle is a stable of 3 key singles stars. The House of Black is a united front that stands for one message. And I don't think they're done recruiting either. We suddenly saw the exchange with the Varsity Blondes and Julia Hart, who we thought was going to give in like a Nort out of Kingdom Hearts, but didn't yet. And yet we haven't seen Julia Hart since that angle. Alex Abrahantes, of course, is in the Death Triangle's corner. Who's to say that maybe not Julia Hart, but some member rises and joins the House of Black? And I could already see maybe tensions rising within Death Triangle, combustible elements. If maybe Penta or Rey have a fallout and we have a battle of brothers, the light and the dark. And as far as Pat goes, he has history with the current AEW World Champion. But for me, I feel like here in Vegas, you don't bet against the house. And I think the house will win. I have the House of Black. Your thoughts on this match?
I'm in the same boat as you, and I'm glad we got the original 3 back. Unlike Revolution, when James did the whole Danhausen thing, he said Rey Fenix, but bigger on our Revolution predictions and preview video.
How dare he mock Adam Redbeard? Eric Redbeard, excuse me, botch.
Adam Redbeard. Who's Adam? You want to Adam Sher and Eric Redbeard? But
let's not bring up that name.
But I'm glad we got the original 3 back. It's like you said, it's about damn time we got them back. But ever since House of Black they've been like got Buddy Matthews, the momentum has been up and down with the whole Fuego thing, and I'm glad after now they didn't have to deal. Well, they don't got to deal with Fuego. Hopefully, not anytime soon.
Yeah, hopefully he learned his lesson. The Phoenix rises again. How many times do the Phoenix repeat the same mistake?
Exactly.
Insanity.
So, but with this House of Black and finally the original 3 of the Death Triangle, I'm with you on this one. The house always wins. Never bet against the House of Black. I mean, I'm glad they're back, but also, how can you bet against the House of Black? I mean, they just get stronger and stronger, I feel like, with every match.
And I feel like House of Black needs more momentum for themselves, too, while you have the pair of former AEW Tag Team Champions and the Bastard Pack with a victory over Heyman and Page and Kenny Omega, too. They'll be fine no matter what, because at the end of the day, they're just 3 pissed off men that are out to break somebody like they broke the Factory tonight on AEW Dark. Ouch. But yeah, I'm just curious, does another member rise for the House of Black? That's my biggest angle that I think could come out of this match. And could it be somebody whose heart changed or somebody we're not expecting? Either way, I think we're getting some sort of surprise show up at AEW Double or Nothing, whether it's a new signing or somebody reincarnated on the roster.
I have a feeling somebody's going to show up, but we'll talk about it in the main event because I have a theory. We'll talk about it.
Again, Double or Nothing. When it comes to the quality versus quantity, it's like wait and see at this point, but also how much can you endure? Again, Tony Khan, I think you just may have played it a little deep here because I don't know if people can survive a WrestleMania 35 level repeat, except your quality is there, but there's still too much for one show.
Exactly. And plus now the fact that, there is a game 7 of the NBA Finals between the Heat and the Celtics now. And
they're competing against sports, and that's what Tony Khan wanted to avoid. Oh, shoot.
But also, Tony did say that he is prepared. So he's going to put the best matches towards the later down stages of the show. So we're going to get the matches that we feel like he's going to save the big matches for later on the show, because he did come out and say on the media call, because somebody asked him a question. So if there was to be a game 7 of the Heat and Celtics NBA Eastern Conference NBA Eastern Conference playoffs, of the finals of the NBA playoffs, they said, are you prepared to, basically for that? Yes, he is well prepared, and he's going to save the big matches for later on in the show.
Wise move. Again, this man, he recognizes what competition he's dealing with, and it's not the WWE, it's sports. And people that keep comparing these two companies, get a life. But you did talk about big matches. We talked about a lot of matches with unpredictability. Well, King, we call whose house your house, but I have to ask you at Double or Nothing, will the AEW Tag Team Championships belong in Swerve's house? Or do we finally see FTW claim legitimate championship gold too? Or do the champs once again outweigh the odds and come out in victory too? This, in my opinion, is one of the top 3 biggest matches of the night. And you kick off first as we have the AEW Tag Team Championship triple threat. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, Swerve in his house, versus Team Taz's Powerhouse Hobbs and Absolute Ricochet Starks, the current FTW champion, versus the current AEW Tag Team Champions, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus of Jurassic Express in triple threat tag team action. Once again for the champs. Odds are not in their favor. And with the way these teams are set up with a unique hybrid wrestler and a wild powerhouse, no pun intended, except for one team, this match is anybody's game.
Anybody's game except for Jurassic Express, in my opinion, because I do like Jurassic Express. I'm a fan, not a big fan, but I'm a fan of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Been that way since day one. But I feel like when they first got the tag team titles, I was excited. I was happy because I was like, okay, we're finally going to see a Jurassic Express AEW tag team title reign. And it's been up and down, and thus far, it's like a heartbeat. Up, down, and then flat. I feel like you need to take the titles off them. No disrespect to both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, because Team Taz over there, Hobbs and Starks, they're how can you stop them as of late? I mean, let's be specific here. And then you over here, you got Swerve in Our Glory, which white hot right now with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland with Swerve Stomp and everything. Oh my, their tag team finishing move is just basically, love it. I love it. The chemistry.
Impact.
No pun intended. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland's chemistry in that ring. This ain't the first time they tag team together, folks. Just in case y'all wondering, this is not the first time that they tag together. Just go look at their history on YouTube. It's right there on YouTube. So,
that's right.
So their chemistry together is just so well gelled. Like you have a hybrid. You have an agile, speedy. I feel like technical wrestler in my opinion and Swerve, and you just have a athletic big man in Keith Lee, like who should not do stuff for a 300+ pounder. I'm just saying, you don't do stuff.
There's a reason why it's called Limitless, King.
And then Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. What's more to be said? They made Rampage their house. Basically. But now I feel like this is Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs' time as well to get their first legit championship. No pun intended, Ricky. As what Christian said on Dynamite, no pun intended. This is like their first chance to get a real chance at a championship belt. I'm torn and I'm stuck between Keith and Swerve and Team Taz. I'm just gonna put it like this, and I'm like I said earlier on the Adam Cole and Samoa Joe base pick. I'm going with Swerve in Our Glory base pick. But if I was to have like my changing pick before the event, before the deadline, Team Taz. At this rate, you gotta get the titles off of Jurassic Express. Gotta get them off of them. If not, then when you gonna do them? Because basically, I don't think anybody, well, at least people that I've talked to, are willing to sit through another few months of this Jurassic Express reign. Like I said, no disrespect to both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, but with the momentum that Swerve in Our Glory has been getting, and then plus you have Team Taz involved in here too, you got to give it either one of both of them, one of the both, one or the other, because right, their momentum has been rising.
That's fair. I think that's a fair argument. Since Jurassic Express won these titles in the birth of the TBS era, overcoming the Lucha Brothers, and Jungle Boy, a pillar of AEW, finally got his first title here. And Luchasaurus has been always impressive. We've seen them overcome the likes of the Ass Boys, also Dark Order, and most recently, I know they have more reigns than that, but I'm just trying to remember them all. It's a lot to remember. But their biggest triumph was at Revolution, where they overcame two of the best tag teams in professional wrestling history, the Young Bucks, former ATW Tag Team Champions, and Red Dragon at the same time. Now they have another freeway dance, but a whole different dynamic when it comes to these teams in bright young AEW, youthful up-and-comers, Powerhouse Will Hobbs and Absolute Ricky Starks, representing that FTW Attitude Currency Team Taz, and then this unique, most recently formed brand new hybrid team of Shane Strickland and Keith Lee. I do feel like at the heart here, you look at the continuing feud of Swerve in His Glory and Team Taz, and that could be the fallout here. But again, if the champs exploit that, they could come out here in the end. But then I figure about what's next for the champs, particularly for Jungle Boy, who's had an up and down roller coaster this year in AEW, particularly in singles action. We've seen the solid nods, and it was 1 year ago where Christian Cage endorsed Jungle Boy as a mentorship game and being part of the future. And I wonder who's going to turn here, Jungle Boy or Christian Cage? Somebody tell me with Christian Cage, who brought forward that triple threat that we saw in Dynamite 3rd anniversary, and wow, did those three kill it, in hoping of getting Jungle Boy's victory back after Ricky Starks beat him when he was going after the FTW Championship. It was Swerve who got the victory, and he pinned Ricky Starks. Jungle Boy was now involved in the decision. So the champs don't look weak coming in here. But honestly, they don't really have a few going in here either. This is a test for themselves. It's hard to count out Jurassic Express, the team that's been there since day one. But I'd look at, again, the future of AEW, and I feel like, yeah, maybe it's time for a change up in the tag team division too. But that's the beauty of AEW and their greatest strength, tag team wrestling. So while you went right now with Swerve in His Glory, I do think there will be new tag champs, but I went with Team Taz. When it comes to Team Taz, they have been the standard bearers of Rampage. I can see them honestly defending those titles all the time on Rampage. Ricky Starks has all the charisma, all the moves in the world, so much youthful experience. And Powerhouse Hobbs is just that. He is a freaking powerhouse. And he is an AEW original too. And I feel like he deserves this moment as well. And with them having the Team Taz attitude, I feel they definitely will be the most heelish, obviously, in this team triple threat too. And they might exploit the opportunity to get a roll-up on anybody else in this match. It comes down to me if Jungle Boy finally gets the best of particularly Ricky Starks, or if Team Taz gets the advantage over a team they already beat, or finally pin one half of the tag team champions where it matters. Either way, I got new tag champs, but I went with Team Taz. And I feel afterwards, if not during it, Christian Cage and Jungle Boy will have a fallout. And that will define the future of both those men for the short haul in AEW.
Yep, I feel like Christian will be the one. Like people are saying, Christian will be the one to turn heel. But hey, I'm throwing a little swerve here, no pun intended. What if it's Jungle Boy?
There you go.
The one who turns on Christian. You never know.
Well, again, I also say this. Remember the relationship connection that Jungle Boy has. He is the son of who?
Luke Perry.
Bingo. Hollywood. Jungle Boy goes Hollywood. And maybe Anna Jay, his girl, joins him. A whole new dynamic for both of those athletes in AEW, based simply maybe off what happens at Double or Nothing. And Jungle Boy, again, he's been a fan favorite. But imagine the twist if Jungle Boy goes heel and attacks Christian Cage and Luchasaurus is the peacemaker in the middle. Again, either way, there's a change coming to Jurassic Express, and particularly Jungle Boy and Christian Cage will be the parties involved. And I think it starts at Double or Nothing with new tag champs. All right. As we move on from there, the tag team action doesn't slow down, does it, King? Because you are elite. The the Elite, but will they be deleted? Especially after their showboating showcase on Friday. The battle.
I did see that match.
That was freaking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Cindy G lost it. Again, Brendan Cutler in the lead at top. My eyes. But anyway, it is the battle of the generational tag teams, where one basically came because of the other, as it's being booked as Elite versus Delete for the first time ever in AEW. Not first time ever before with these two. The Young Bucks and the Hardys go at it in Tag Team Dream Affair. King, this is all you, my friend, and I'm sure you got a lot to say about this, considering the Young Bucks would not be a thing if it wasn't for the Hardys in the first place.
And that is also true, because I am I do watch BTE, and I'm pretty sure you do too.
I
watch
do.
BTE. I mean, do you seen the hit? Do you seen this, like the nods and everything in between? I don't think I need to say much further, because these two go back since 2017 at Ring of Honor on WrestleMania weekend. I don't think I need to say any further on that one, because I remember watching that match before WrestleMania 33. My God, that expedition of gold journey that the Hardys went through, and then they made a stop against the Bucks, and the Bucks won in that crazy match, crazy tag match that they had, which was crazy, man, for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. And it's, I feel like it's true, because of the fact that if it wasn't for the Hardys, there will be no Young Bucks. And I'm a Young Bucks fan, but when it comes to all-time greatest tag teams, I am also a Hardys fan. So at that rate, and plus, I mean, these two, if you haven't seen their Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match 5 years ago, you guys are in for a treat with this match right here. Yes, the Hardys are now once the Hardys of old. They're starting to show signs a bit, not a lot of bit, a bit. But I feel like at this rate, they need to be back to the Hardys of old for one night. Especially in this match here, to prove that they're still the greatest tag team of all time. But also, you also have the Young Bucks, who have been dominating this tag team scene over the last decade. Everywhere you go, you see Young Bucks, Ring of Honor, Young Bucks, New Japan, Young Bucks, AEW or Indy Promotions, Young Bucks. They have dominated this tag team scene so easily, and it's not even funny. Matt and Nick, when it comes to tag team wrestling in this generation, are the standard, part of that standard barrier of tag team wrestling in this generation. With this here, it's basically 5 years revisited for us professional wrestling fans who have seen this match.
Oh, yeah.
The win here, especially AEW, because you was talking about streaks, right? With Britt Baker?
Yes.
Don't forget the Young Bucks have a double or nothing streak too. Don't forget about that. They're also undefeated at double or nothing.
Fair point.
So, with that in play, this is tough, because it's my favorite tag team, one of my favorite tag teams in this generation, versus one of my favorite tag teams of all time being revisited. I'm gonna stick, and this is the only time I'm gonna make, and this is, like I said, it's another, for me, it's not unpredictable, but deep, like up here, it's saying that it's unpredictable, but in my heart, it's saying it's unpredictable. Because the Hardys has just been recently reunited in AEW, but also the Young Bucks have been day one here in AEW, the founders of this company.
That's right.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna stick with my fandom, and I'm gonna go with Bucks. Bucks pick up the win here, in which basically this is basically tag team dream match revisited, and I should have said it in that last match we was talking about with the three-way tag team match, and I'm gonna say it here. Y'all know me. I've tweeted this out, and I've said this on the ATW View on multiple occasions.
And it holds up true still.
When it comes down to this AEW tag team division, it is always on lockdown. And these two tag team matches are not going to disappoint whatsoever.
There you have it. Well, I figure about it like this. Again, like you said, it is literally Ring of Honor Revisited. The Young Bucks have a victory over the Hardys. The Hardys are out to prove a point that, yes, we might be literally, this is our last run, but we are still the team that inspired you to be. And the Young Bucks don't deny that. And they welcome the hot tag. They welcome it. You heard what they said on the countdown. Young Bucks being former AEW Tag Team Champions, the Hardys clearly aspirations to do that. They recently won a pair of tag team championships at a different independent wrestling promotion. So trust me when I say the Hardys, they still got it. That being said, here I think about who needs it more. Could it lead to something more for either of these two crews? And again, is the Undisputed Elite truly fine and on the same page too? Based on the results so far we gave tonight with the Fat Red Dragon, what I gave him a victory. What if I give the Young Bucks a victory too? What if I don't? What if only the Undisputed Elite, particularly the three, Adam Cole and Red Dragon, baby, particularly get wins? The Young Bucks do not. Again, it was the Young Bucks that kind of went on their own way during the Owen, not necessarily in Adam Cole and Red Dragon's favor. They wanted the Hardys. It seems like the Young Bucks want this match more, and I feel they're out to prove a point and truly want a passing of the torch. But I just don't think right now, until they're truly done, despite reckless nature of Jeff Hardy, and you know it's going to show off, the Hardys are done by a long shot. And I have surprising us here. And this is once again our match that I'm going the opposite of you. I picked the Hardys, especially after that showboating they did on Friday night. You think the Hardys are going to take that lightly from the mat of fat Titantron to the attack on Gangrel to, let's be honest, Nick Jackson, that is not a swanton bomb, all right? There's only one person that can pull that off, and that is Jeff Hardy, as your young boy learned. So with that being said, I expect all the shenanigans and all the cheap tricks and all the moves stolen from each individual party too. But as far as Sunday night goes, I got the Young Bucks coming up short against the Hardys in this revisited tag team affair too. But a first, I feel only a first, not a last in AEW. I got the Hardys going over.
Okay.
And again, this is going to be unique, and we'll see if Brandon Cutler actually does his job or screw up. Just saying.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's your stooge. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that. And you know I was going to go there. All right.
I know.
Look, I'm not wrong. All right. Let's go ahead and move on back into championship category, as we have talking about her earlier. La Mera Mera. Thunder Rosa defends the AEW Women's World Championship against the Professor of Professional Wrestling, the woman of 1,000 holes, over 6 years, tested in the game, Serena Deeb. There is respect, there is competition, there is a drive and a passion to prove that they are what they are in professional wrestling, not just in women's professional wrestling either. Why one was originally inspired, that is out the window now, as we heard straight from the person this past Dynamite. And now Sunday, the Professor fights the champion. At the end of the day, it comes down to who holds that belt that can call themselves the best. Thunder Rosa is out to haunt Serena Deeb with a defeat and with a statement victory. While Deeb, she is out to truly own, at the end of the day, not what anyone else thinks, but what she believes. And that is that she is the best in professional wrestling. She is that damn good. And it's hard to say, hard to argue. We're looking at two of the most driven, competitive, tested, and well-experienced athletes here. And this is a revisit from NWA. And again, it was Serena Deeb that beat Thunder Rosa for the Burke, the NWA Women's World Championship, during Shockwave. We even saw Serena Deeb's run during AEW with that championship, defending it proudly and successfully on multiple occasions until she came up to NWA to the Brick House, the ultimate champion of women's professional wrestling. I stand by that, Camille. That being said, right now, the Mera Thunder Rosa, one defense under her belt that you saw live against Nyla Rose at Battle of the Belts after beating Dr. Baker DMD in that steel cage in Texas. We're not in Texas, though. We're in Las Vegas. But for me, I'm not betting against the Mera. I still think it's too soon, and I hope she's better presented, and I hope she becomes more of a fighting champion on the AEW product, too. So with that being said, this is going to be a hell of a contest, taxing physical for both. And I feel Deeb's going to push Thunder Rosa even harder because, again, Deeb is the more experienced here. There's no doubt about that. I do have Thunder Rosa retaining. Your thoughts on this match, King?
This build right here Man, I wish the build have been more presented in a more positive way.
Agree.
It took Thunder Rosa to cut that last promo on this past Dynamite to basically, hopefully, be that driving, that hopefully the nail that basically said, okay, I am now finally interested in this match. Because throughout this whole build, it's just been like I was talking about the Jurassic Express tag team title reign. This build has been flat up until this past Dynamite.
Yep.
Deeb, let's put it out there when it comes to Serena Deeb. Good promo concept she came up with, just didn't deliver on the execution. But good promo concept, in my opinion. This is my opinion. I think it should have been more delivered, more passionate, more intense driven. But I did get what she was saying though on her promo when it comes to Serena Deeb. But Thunder Rosa though, I bought into it. I felt that. I felt that passion. I felt that passion. Like I felt that intensity. I felt that because, like you touched on, these two faced each other for the NWA Women's World Championship. These two got history. And this match, like match-wise, this is going to be a clinic. This is going to be good women's wrestling clinic right here. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
I knew the match. As soon as it was first announced, I knew the match was going to be good because of their history. It was just how you was going to build it. That was my only concern. And that was my concern, and it turned out to be true. I was concerned for it. Until this past Dynamite when Thunder Rosa drove it home.
Thankfully.
And I hope Las Vegas by that time, the energy, hopefully it can still maintain. Hopefully. That's my other concern. Because you have the build, and then you have Thunder Rosa's past Dynamite promo, and you have that Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena crowd energy. When you add those three up, it equals a question mark. The wrestling match, though, is going to be good. It's going to be a women's wrestling clinic. No doubt about it. But the crowd, that's my concern.
And
but
the
as
booking.
far as my winner, yep. But as far as my winner goes, easy. Thunder Rosa retains. After this, you got to book Thunder Rosa to be your main AEW Women's World Champion as the way how you should present a main women's champion, not Jade. Because right now, and I touched on this earlier, Jade is getting more TV time and more of that presentation than your main champion is. And we've all wanted Thunder Rosa to be champion. And she's got that. But how is Jade Cargill still your main important piece than your main champion? Something needs to change after tomorrow night. You got to present Thunder Rosa better because even Thunder Rosa said it herself that she wants to be a fighting champion. She wants to defend the AEW Women's World Champion all across the world. She wants to defend it. Something needs to change after tomorrow night. Thunder Rosa wins though.
Yeah.
In which I think, no doubt, is going to be a wrestling clinic. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and also, like you said, also Stardom's interested in working particularly with Thunder Rosa and Dada Breaker DMD. When Dada Breaker DMD was the champion, she made sure you all knew she was the champion, and she was the one you wanted to go for. And I understand why Dynamite is on TBS, and you probably want your network championship to be viewed strongly. I still feel like it should not overshadow the main championship of your entire women's division in your company. So hopefully, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Something needs to give, something needs to change when it comes to the booking of the women's division. Great pace this past week on both fronts with the women's Owen and hyping the women's championship. You got to keep doing that forward. Now, the Owen's no longer going to be a thing. You literally will just have your women's division and women's champions. Take pages from Gail Kim and Impact Wrestling, where they gave us 2 women's matches and also talked about the Knockouts Championship and Queen of the Mountain, all of which is going to happen at Summerversary. Again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The strongest presentation, booking, quality, and quantity wise every week in professional wrestling, at least here in the States, for women's professional wrestling as a whole is Impact Wrestling. And I don't expect AEW to reach those levels, but they certainly can try with the amount of talent that they have, because they do have an incredible roster and they are trying to use them to a degree. There's just some things need to change when it comes to the booking, particularly the single spot slowed all the time on Dynamite and certain individuals in the way they're going. Ty Conti. But I digress. Respect women's wrestling, folks. That's all I got to say about that. All right.
Amen to that.
All right. Well, that being said, there's not going to be no respect here. There's just going to be sports entertainment. But we're also going to see a lot of violent, crazy, physical, professional wrestling. Damn it. But I digress, because this match speaks for itself. Anarchy in the arena. All hell's about to break loose as Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson, representing the Blackpool Combat Club, coincide with Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz, taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society, a standard of excellence in sports entertainment now for 11 weeks. And apparently Jericho is a wizard. You're a wizard, Jericho. Hedwig don't need to tell you that from freaking Hogwarts. But I digress. Hi, Megan. That being said, this match is going to be interesting. This will definitely be the match that wakes up the crowd at some point and will be the most interactive. Hopefully nobody gets hurt or gets hit. I expect popcorn machines, Dippin' Dots, baseball bats, fireballs, madness, blood, insanity, craziness, and maybe even Regal's death face, whether he's on commentary or punches Chris Jericho in the face. We heard it on Countdown. We heard it on commentary. We've seen it in the ring. The Jericho Appreciation Society is a united front. There's no doubt about that. As far as Eddie Kingston goes, he's a man that's out here truly on his own, but he's got his boys, always got his back too. And Jon Moxley is well aware of what this man is too. That's why he respects him so much. Because no matter what you think, Eddie Kingston, good, bad, heel, face, indifferent. Honestly, he don't even know those wrestling terms. He's just a wrestler at the end of the day. He's a fighter. Eddie Kingston is 100% real. And that promo he just did on AEW's Twitter about fighting his past demons, oh, man, real freaking respect. But that being said, Bryan Danielson pretty much summed up who I like better. Personally, I like Chris Jericho better. But again, I like being a professional wrestler. And that's why I love this dynamic so much, because while Bryan Danielson is a professional wrestler, he did make it to the top in sports entertainment. So he loves this dynamic. At the end of the day, though, Regal just wants Jericho to get punched in the face. So it comes down here to, we don't know the rules, and I'm pretty sure there are no rules. But we also don't know necessarily what's going to be the end angle, in or out of the ring, who eats the fall here. At the heart of it, Kingston wants to make Jericho suffer, but he wants to do it to a point that he doesn't become his former self. Real talk. I'm a little torn on this, considering I don't think this is going to be a one-off. But I officially put it down because they are the strongest thing in professional wrestling right now. From an identity standpoint and nothing else, Blackpool Combat Club and Clue somehow winning this affair. And I don't think it stops here. King, your thoughts on this madness in this 10-man war that's coming forward? 11 if you count Regal.
First of all, shout out to Wheeler Yuta representing the Blackpool Combat Club, representing AEW Best of the Super Juniors. I hope you're killing it, bro.
He's got a pretty good score, but he's also got a couple of people that beat him. So think about that towards the Ring of Honor Pure Championship's future, particularly the first one that beat him, Robbie Eagles.
Yeah, which shocking. But
yeah, tell me
nonetheless, Kingston's out for one thing and one thing only, and that's to get Jericho. I mean, and the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And plus, we don't know what the status is of Danielson. Is it a work or is it a legit injury, because of the fact that, yes, that leg was attacked on. And we've seen the result. Bryan was holding that leg, so it kind of made you feel like it's possibly not a work.
But he still kicked Matt Seidel's ass.
He sure did on Rampage, which I knew that was a clinic from the get-go.
Banger.
These are two technicians in the ring. But you may have had Blackpool Combat Club in them winning. This is where I'm the opposite of you.
Oh, here we go.
But I do agree with you on one thing. This is not a one-off. It is not. It's going to lead into blood and guts. I have a feeling.
It's gotta.
But But Jericho touched on it on Dynamite. Like, yeah, wasn't there problems between, I don't know, Danielson and Eddie Kingston, and Kingston said, okay, you're all that. But also it showed itself.
Right.
And its rear ugly head whenever they almost got into it.
Right.
So to let her know from that fact, I'm going where you said a more united front, or you said on Blackpool Combat Club's in. I think the more united front is part of the Jericho Appreciation Society.
As a whole, I do agree.
I feel like they're going to get the win here. And then basically Jericho's going to have to eat another L at Blood and Guts by the hands of the Blackpool Combat Club and possibly whoever you have between Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz, or whoever you got as your two. But I do have, and this is just my base pick, I do have JAS winning. That could change before the deadline tomorrow for the form. That's my base pick. I got the JAS.
There go Priestess Insanity. All right. Because free of cool hands and Daddy Magic actually pull it off, because I'm sure they're going to be talking about, you want a taste? There's going to be so much.
Never thought in my life that I like 2.0 right now as I do. But man, they've eaten my words a lot.
Well, I mean, their new theme screams 80s, and these two might as well be on Miami Vice. So I have to agree with you. And of course, you got Big Mean Jake Hager. And who knew Daniel Garcia had such a personality?
Who knew? Hey, it took Jericho. Even who was that said that? Even Jericho saved him from that horrific accident years ago. They touched on that.
Again, this is why Jericho is a GOAT of not only sports entertainment, but the wrestling industry.
Enough said on that. Enough said.
And again, we'll see if Kingston and Bryan Danielson combust. Will Danielson's leg collapse? Will Regal get a fireball in his face? I dare Jericho to try that. Either way, win or loss for one of these two crews, this feud is definitely going to continue, and it's going to involve Regal at some point yelling blood and guts. Will be one of the happiest things to happen this year for me in AEW.
Same.
All right. This is gonna be entertaining to say the least. Sports entertainment at its finest. Oh, good grief. All right. Well, as we move on from sports entertainment, let's go on to a narrative of a man who signed his soul to the devil, but is looking to get it back and become a free man. He overcame all the odds, and he went through hell to do it, even though he pretty much went through hell very easily. As MJF has no choice but to finally deal with one-on-one his former bodyguard, Wardlow. And something tells me he's not going to be coming out to Just Our Chance Eater this Sunday. Well, King, I think this speaks for itself. Ever since Wardlow, this big, giant, random anomaly came in and took Cody's head off and became the bodyguard of MJF, Wardlow has been the difference maker in MJF's affairs, to say the least. It wasn't until Wardlow suddenly acknowledged that to MJF, even behind his back, but MJF heard it, and got slapped, that Wardlow's like, I've done enough putting somebody else forward. I need to now take myself forward too, and I want it all. And we saw it all come ahead at ATW Revolution and that dog collar match with CM Punk, where he left that 100K ring on the apron to give Punk the win in the end, and the punch too. But since then, basically, he tried to pull, just call it a Vince. MJ has been trying to make Wardlow's life a living hell. You thought that he was going to make him fade in obscurity, leave him at home? Nope. Wardlow was not going to let that happen. Bodyguards, staff, security, the freaking police department included, could not hold Wardlow back from at least coming in the arena. To the point now, MJF has lost once again against Captain Sean Dean. Good luck trying to be contention for AW World Championship now. Good job, Captain, at ease. And we've seen now Wardlow become the likes of W. Morrissey and Lance Archer and The Butcher with beautiful powerbomb symphonies. Last but not least, enduring 10 lashes, where 8 of them meant nothing. But then the steel cage, he thought he had the trump card, and he ended up getting a chair in the head. And Sean Spears got a long overdue powerbomb symphony, also at the hands of his own weapon, too. No more obstacles, no more holding back. There is no turning back. This is the end game with these two. And simply put, if Wardlow doesn't win this, you just lost down the next top-tier babyface in AEW. I got Wardlow winning.
I'm glad I'm glad we're touching on this now. because there is reports as we speak.
Yes.
The report basically says, if I look on JD from NY, shout out to you for shouting me out on your W2K22 stream. He said, according to reports, this is from Inside the Ropes.
Oh boy.
MJF no-showed the AEW Double or Nothing Fan Fest. AEW management tried to reach out to him and was unable to get in touch with him.
Huh. Oh.
Now, this plays a wild card because we've heard the reports. We've heard MJF's frustrations.
Yes.
Now, with this, I don't know if we're going to get that match at Double or Nothing tomorrow night. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I'm like, is this even a work anymore? Or is this real life? And there is really heat to where we're not going to be able to get this match on Sunday night. But if the match is still planned and he does show up tomorrow night at the T-Mobile Arena, MJF's a dead man. Let's call a spade a spade. MJF's a dead man. I don't know how many power bombs it's going to take. Hell, it's going to possibly overtake Cesaro's swing counter. That's how I feel.
That's
about
crazy.
This whole MJF scenario. Oh, I'm pretty sure Wardlow could do it.
I'm not going to deny that. I'm sure Toya Schiavone would be the most happiest person on earth.
But like I said, MJF's a dead man. If he does show up on Sunday night, he's a dead man. And Wardlow going to have a War Pigs new theme song. And I got Wardlow winning here because this momentum, if we was to call a wrestler of the month, it's Wardlow. It's Wardlow. Wardlow is my wrestler of the month.
Bar none.
He beaten, like you said, the Butcher. He's beaten W. Morrissey. He's beaten Lance Archer. And then he beat Sean Spears.
In a steel cage with MJF as the referee.
Dominated Sean Spears in a steel cage.
Long overdue.
Easy for him.
Long overdue.
Easy for that man. Long overdue. Bar none. Wardlow is going to get the win here. And and part of me, because I felt like I'm about to fall myself into a trap because we know how MJF is.
Mm-hmm. Always with a plan.
Show up at Vegas. Show up at the T-Mobile Arena. Show up so you don't have these people worried. Me worried a little bit. Show up because if you don't, it's going to look at this company the wrong way. And I don't want that, especially on a night like this. I don't want that.
I did say that this show is going to define, in at least one way, the future of AEW.
And that future, like you just now said, let's look at that man not showing up at the T-Mobile Arena. We might not even get this one.
Bidding War 2024 might come ahead sooner than you think for this particular asshole. Then again, they always say, what's everything in wrestling? All work. Blur the lines. Kayfabe is dead. What is real? What is fiction? I guess we'll know soon enough.
Yep. If he didn't show at FanFest tonight.
That's a lot of money, too. I can only imagine how much his autographs are probably worth. More than his Burberry scarf. And I looked at those things. They're $300 a pop. The real deal, that is.
300?
Burberry's no joke, dude. That's a high-end retail brand.
Yeah, that is true. I was talking about the autographs, though. Yeah, that could probably,
The autographs at least gotta be 3 figures as well. Because again, Danhausen, he was $100 and Sean Boley went to go see him. I digress. Again, wrestlers, we paved the way for their payday. They paved the way for our passion. Heel, face, it doesn't matter. You are engaged by what you see from them. It's as simple as that. But yeah, Wardlow, he's a free man. He is going to have a resolution. He's going to have probably an out-of-body experience getting his hands on MJF, which I feel no matter what is going to happen. But again, MJF is a man with a plan. Be aware, because that could literally change things before the end. But I digress. Well, King, again, we talked about quality versus quantity. We talked about the length. We talked about Tony Khan, his perspective on this show, taking us all the innings to the very end and keeping this crowd on their feet and engaged. I don't know how you're going to do it, man, but I'm going to take your word for it as I'll be commentating it. But when it comes down to this show, it wasn't necessarily Owen. It wasn't necessarily all the trios action. It wasn't necessarily the strongest strength tag team wrestling that allowed you to get $1 million gate. It wasn't the fact that I feel like the fact we know AEW started here. It was the fact that you booked this main event clash for the ages, not just for AEW, but in the world of professional wrestling. Because one man made history here, immortal in professional wrestling history in Las Vegas, 2011. And now, or 2010. Someone can fetch me on that botch if I'm
2011.
wrong.
2011.
Okay,
you were right.
But now we see again if he can do it one more time with what he calls the most important match and title of his life. While the other, since day zero, is fighting on behalf of the championship, but the brand itself and what he and the Elite started. King, it's time for the main event. Hangman Adam Page defends the AEW World Championship against the best in the world, CM Punk. Oh, good Lord Almighty. This match, you cannot be more 50-50. Good luck.
Since day zero, we knew the arc of the story was Hangman Adam Page. For 2 years, that was the arc. It came to an end by beating who I think in this generation, one of the best wrestlers in the world today, and Kenny Omega.
And I agree.
In which we wish you a speedy recovery as you still continue your rehab, sir. After when he was culminated as the AEW World Champion, this reign has been great. I've been loving it. The 2 matches he had with Danielson, the match he had with Archer, the 2 matches he had with Cole, even a surprising match out of the blue with Dante Martin for the AEW World Championship. And then you have a man who's been out of this sport for, well, at the time, 7 years. Many people thought he was never going to come back. Many people thought he was just going to stay out, do Hollywood stuff, do commentating UFC and stuff. But it's like I said about the whole Martha Hart thing. It took one person, one company. Here he is. And this is what I stand with this, because I already talked about CM Punk All Got Legacy on our all-out preview and predictions video.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this to you on Wednesday.
You did.
What season are we about to approach? What weather season are we about to approach?
The summer of Punk.
There's Ring of Honor Punk. There's Best in the World. There was Straight Edge Society Punk. Best in the World Punk. And they got Old Man Phil, as I call him. Old Man Phil. Shout out to Tranquilo Club for putting that on Twitter. Shout out to you. Yeah. 4 primes, 4 summers. And also, I feel like, this is the most unpredictable main event that you could possibly ever get in its AEW's history. Have you been seeing CM Punk's body language as of yet? Have you not noticed that he's been chill? And that every time, especially with Kingston and MJF, you're not notice his body language? And that it's like Kingston and MJF see right through him, along with Hangman cutting the same exact words as both of them gentlemen did in their feud with Punk. It's like they're trying to tell us a story of CM Punk being the babyface, but deep down they're exposing him for what he truly is.
A subtle warning.
Exactly. It's like a subtle warning of when Punk reaches the top of the mountain. Because keep in mind, Tony Khan has came out numerous times and has said the first wrestler he wanted to acquire for AEW was CM Punk. Now its colors are starting to show slowly. And now I feel like if he wins tonight, not tonight, Botch. I want Double or Nothing to be here already. Come on now.
It'll be here soon enough. We're less than 22 hours away. And shout out, by the way, to everybody that's been part of the predictions game for Double or Nothing. My largest predictions game to date. 71 people plus 13 on the team. And as far as everybody goes, this is the most polarizing match I've ever seen being predicted on. The 71 in the galaxy right now is 66% Punk. But a third still believe cowboy shit will thrive.
And that's where I feel like if Punk wins tomorrow night, them true colors are going to show big time. Remember the 434-day reign?
Absolutely.
I feel like those traits will come into play. So,
and it won't be undermined this time by The Rock or John Cena.
But also you have Hangman to deal with too, who has been on a good championship run. And it's also like if Punk can't get it done, if Brian couldn't got it done, Archer couldn't get it done, Dante couldn't get it done, and neither Adam Cole baby could get it done either. And Punk doesn't get it done tomorrow night, who do you have as a top name? There's a lot
Kenny
of
Omega
names.
when he recovers, if that's all.
There's a lot of top names in that company since Omega's been rehabbing that you could possibly dethrone Hangman Adam Page if Punk can't get the job done.
I did say Pac and Hangman have history.
And there's also another name I could throw in there too, and we just got to talking about him, Eddie Kingston. But as far as tomorrow night goes, I'm sticking with this is another pick that I'm going to stick with besides the Young Bucks pick. I'm going to join that 66% of that galaxy. I am going with Punk. And that's whenever I feel like CM Punk is really going to show his true self. And that basically played us like a fool. And become the extraordinary heel that we know he can be. I'm going with Punk to dethrone Hangman, and we are going to have a new AEW World Champion.
All righty. Well, that was an incredible backstory that you told. Again, the solidness of Punk and the seasons that has repeated, but also the just execution and presentation. Because yes, and CM Punk came on the scene. Let's talk about that. He started off with Darby Allin, and then he moved on to the likes of MJF. Not only had a promo of the year with the man, but two match of the year type candidates. And then, of course, we've seen between that time, he's been putting in the constant work at the likes of QT Marshall, John Silver, including buckshot laying that man's head off, and then that wild fight with Eddie Kingston, who I still believe to this day, Eddie Kingston and CM Punk truly hate each other.
Yeah, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then him and Adam Page, who's been there since day zero and day one, and he and MJF were involved when that title was first presented, not only in the Casino Battle Royale where Heyman won it in the end, but came up short to Chris Jericho. And then we saw the title move forward through the likes of Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega, where in the end, he came over Kenny Omega. I look at the future. I don't know whether or not All Out's in Chicago. Forbidden Door is next. We know that is. We don't know what our marquee selling match will be and why people have thrown every what if possible, from Switchblade Jay White to Kenta to even Kazuchika Okada. which, might I add, is a particular person that CM Punk wants, and Okada wants too. I look at the future. I think about Forbidden Door before All Out. I think about what is next, what will be AEW. Heyman right now, he is in the fight of his life. He says he's not fighting on behalf of the championship. He is fighting on the brand. And I think he suddenly saw everything that you just summed up. But right now, when you think about AEW, it's a business at the end of the day. And even Punk said, it's not personal, it's just business. I respect you. And regardless whether I win or lose, you will shake my hand. There's a reason why CM Punk didn't hold that microphone on Wednesday night. He had Tony Schiavone hold it for him. That is the amount of confidence and the amount of mind games right now that CM Punk is winning at. And I feel here he's going to exploit that hot temper of that cowboy. Get the better of him in the end. I do have CM Punk winning the AEW World Championship 2, redefining the future of AEW. Because while Heyman has been a phenomenal champion, we have not truly felt the same way, I feel like, about him since he was on the hunt. There's a difference when you're the hunter versus the hunted. And what that does for Heyman next, I have no idea. Ask the Dark Order, because right now, also things are in chicken ground there. I feel that with the Dark Order too. But for me, I think that CM Punk will redefine not only professional wrestling, but AEW as their champion too. And whether or not it's somebody at Forbidden Door, whether or not it's MJF revisited and he becomes the first of the 4 true players to hold the AEW World Championship, keep that in mind. Someone tell me right now there is an amount of phenomenal unpredictability with CM Punk as the head face of this company. Heel or face. I have CM Punk winning too. And closing out Double or Nothing, not only the best in the world, but the AEW World Champion.
You said closing out, right?
Allegedly.
As in, okay, I know what you meant by that, but I'm also going to use that as in to close out the show here.
Well, considering what happened at AEW Double or Nothing 2019, I almost wonder where you're going.
CM Punk to the ring. Right?
Yes.
He's celebrating.
Yes.
Confetti, and I took this from Joseph Conlon, our fellow podcaster.
The proper podcaster. Yes.
And I watched his take on he posted on his Twitter. Shout out to you, Joseph. And it injected this into my head, so I'm gonna take what he said. I'm gonna put it here on this video here on this episode.
Shout out to Eric with his perspective too in the Wrestleverse.
Yes, shout out to you. Shout out to him as well. Go check out
Indigo. But continue. Well. All the family of ATW.
Yes, all of the family of all of us. The confetti comes down. If there's a dollar bill, he grabs the dollar bill.
Oh, here we go.
And all of a sudden, the coin drops. And then you hear the first few notes of this theme. And then all of a sudden, you have another seed planted for Forbidden Door, June 26th.
If Okada shows up
Punk
at Double or Nothing, I will break something in this room with the amount of excitement that I will show. I will flip out my effing chair. I kid you not. If the Rainmaker shows up and makes his presence known in AEW, where it all began and where it all is going to continue moving forward through the Forbidden Door, giving us an idea of CM Punk versus Rainmaker, I will lose my shit.
I mean, didn't we see the United Empire's own Jeff Cobb and the Great Khan show up on this past Dynamite, making a statement saying that they want the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships?
You're right, we did. But also on that same note, that is the United Empire that's been more here in the United States and AEW strong, including their leader, who might be recovering from a kidney thing, but I wouldn't count him out either. And he also has called out Punk on Twitter, Will Ospreay.
And also to lead on that, why am I throwing this up?
Because the guy that originated the GTS has been wanting to put this mocker to sleep his entire professional wrestling career. Kenta.
No. That's not it. Chase Owens took it to Twitter yesterday
Oh, shoot.
and said it had a Bullet Club hat on in this picture at the airport.
Yeah, I wonder what that could mean.
He said, "What's happening in Vegas this weekend?" And I said, "Chase, I don't know. I seen your New Japan cohorts show up on Dynamite this past Wednesday. Gee, I wonder what's going on this weekend." So a certain light was.
I know where you're going. What ifs? And go back to Ring of Honor with this name too. Who was there during Excursion? Switchblade Jay White, where he did say it is about not just Bullet Club, it is also about the Undisputed Elite, because it's our era. Adam Cole invited his friend in. Who's to say that Jay White will not welcome himself again at the biggest possible opportunity? The bottom line, like I said, is this. In less than 24 hours, the AEW World Championship match, him and Adam Page and CM Punk alone versus everything else on this overstacked card is going to redefine the future of all elite wrestling to a degree. That's all I got to say about that. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be freaking crazy. All I got to say is let's freaking go. And folks, that's all you need to know. And again, I pray to God this is not as long as WrestleMania 35 because the quality's there, but the quantity, I feel you overdone it, Tony. With all due respect.
Tony, you better know what you're doing because you did say you are prepared just in case there was a game 7 between the Heat and the Celtics of the NBA playoffs of the Eastern Conference Finals. I hope you stick to your word and you say for the bigger matches later on down the show. And don't just put them on in early like you always do.
There's going to have to be a proper balance with this card where you know there's not going to be video packages. You know there's going to be wasted promo time. You know there's not going to be wasted advertisements. It's going to be straight up, non-stop, practically professional wrestling. Damn it. And maybe a new signing because that always seems to be a thing. But I digress.
Yeah. Oh.
And again, as far as who that could be, male or female, people threw out John Gargano and Candice LeRae. You tell me, I think you're crazy. But weirder things have happened, especially nowadays, in the world of professional wrestling.
I mean, didn't AEW on TNT's Twitter account kind of botched it? So that kind of tells you right there, maybe?
I mean, that tells me they want that, but I don't know if that tells us anything as far as it's going to happen. Again, King, the beauty of AEW, a ton of what ifs and not really a lot is definitive. And this pay-per-view is the strongest example we've ever seen in the history of this company. Lord help us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we got to say, folks. So that's it. So thank you for tuning in to this special AEW Impromptu. And King, you and I actually differ on a couple of matches. Good luck tomorrow night to you, as I'm literally going to upload this once we're done too. Before we conclude, any last thoughts and anything you want to promote? Where can people connect and find you?
This is going to be a good show. But Tony, next time, quality over quantity.
Simple as that.
Follow me on Twitter at AMT Roman numeral 23, number 23. Same way with Instagram, but also there's also a dot after the Roman numeral 20, after the Roman numeral 23, and then the number 23. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you find most of you there.
Keeping it simple, because whose house? His house. It's as simple as that. And again, shout out to all 71 of you that's in the NoDQ Galaxy All Elite Predictions League, and the 12 that I'm part of on Team NoDQ, that's All Elite too. Practically near 85 people so far have chosen to be All Elite in this fun affair too. So I hope everybody enjoys the show and have fun with this thing too. But you want to know more about me, know this. I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Foster1916 for all things wrestling. And King, shout out, of course, to our entire ATW family and crew on Twitter. Indigo, Casey, Megan, Lex, Cindy, Nick Setters, Mikey, and of course, our inquirer of all things news, Eric Brown, Casey Gallagher, the Wrestling Encyclopedia, also Casey the Preacher Man. There's two Caseys actually in the family, folks. Our own wrestling friend, Kid Bandit. Keep doing what you're doing. We're proud of you, my friend. Mm-hmm. And of course, the entire family, because if I were to rattle the whole family off, this would be longer than the armbar segment from WCW. But I digress. I'm just saying, that's how deep our families become. You know exactly what I meant. And hello, James Hebert. Also, find me on the Jeff Meacham Network for live reactions, watch along, commentary, where me, James, and Casey, not Preacher Man, but the Wrestling Encyclopedia will be calling the entire pay-per-view beginning to end too, and we'll subverge to open mic night. Find me on the Daily Slam with Cindy G and also Chris, I believe she said his name, Chris Lawson, I think. We'll be doing a post-show recap and review of the entire Double Enough Preview 2. Me and King might be back some point next week, maybe with some parts of the other crew too, to recap and review AEW Double or Nothing, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have at least one thing worthy of talking about from this show too, positive or negative. And again, follow the Daily Slam as well, because I do a lot of great stuff there for all the wrestling content, and say yes to NoDQ. As always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. There are just fans with opinions for this passion we all share heavily. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality, and just enjoy life. And if you can, just enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. Don't let Twitter, toxicity, ratings, and other factors that could hinder you dictate your fandom or your overall outlook too in some sort of negative way. It's as simple as that. For the entire ATW crew and for King, I'm Noah Foster. Thank you again for tuning in to another ATW View Impromptu. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, hit the bell notification goes on this channel. Hit the subscribe button. I'll be back to promote In Your House and the Red Crate of Hate later on this week as a live feed. That's what it is. It's a giant red crate. Put milk in it, not people. But I digress. I dare someone tell me otherwise. Freaking thing out of a Mattel play set. All right, I'm getting into a rant, and I shouldn't be doing that. This is all elite content. I'm happy. But that's all I got to say for now. So stay tuned for more on that. I'll be back with more stuff regarding Best Super Juniors. Also, we got Dominion coming up too, King. And June is so loaded with professional wrestling. It's ridiculous. From Forbidden Door to Slammiversary to maybe our field of the next G1 Climax to be revealed too. And so much more. So stay tuned for more on that right here for ATW and through this YouTube channel as well. With that being said, get your picks in, get your rest, get ready for tomorrow night. Make a positive impact in life, as always. And enjoy AEW Double or Nothing if you can, for we are AEW, but we truly are ATW. Have a good night. King, I don't know how we're going to survive tomorrow. I really don't.
We're going to be prepared, and we got to be prepared.
Yep, simple as that. Buckle up.